Really happy to have you here. And we want to start with from the really beginnings and take us back. You were a student at ETH, you're working on a two-wheeled robot. What led you to building a company out of that technology?
I think it was really the mix of having fun of what we were doing, having a cool team, and figuring out that, hey, I think we were quite convinced that robotics is going to be a big thing in the future. And so we just started looking for potential use cases with our little toy robot.
And can you share what was the first use case that you explored?
Yeah, so I think the classical use case that you start with when you have a robot is that you can do some sort of delivery tasks. So we tried this. At the end, we looked at a lot of things. Would we at some point boiled it down? If you want to have a robotics company, you kind of need three things. You need really big market, because otherwise you're just going to build a niche for some niche. You need a market where the value comes from your product and not some added sensor. So a lot of very large companies reached out to us and wanted to put their laser scanner on a robot. And this laser scanner was costing 50, 100,000. And then they put it on a robot and they wanted it to do a patrol every now and then. And this is, the value comes then from the laser scanner and not from the product. Big market, product needs to be the value. And the third one, we wanted something that has extremely high usage daily, because robotics at some point has to be as reliable as a car. And the only way how you can achieve that is if you do it over and over and over again. And so we said, okay, it needs to be an industry where our product is used, and kind of these three categories. We then started to make fancy graphs and everything, and we had a lot of potentials, but it all boiled down that security, although we didn't have any traction there, could really be a case where we can add a lot of value. And the reason is that security is a big market. The value doesn't come from a camera. Cameras nowadays are completely commoditized. And thirdly, security is something you need every single day. Every single day, someone has to do the 5, 6, 8, 12, 24 hours a day. Our robots are running.
Yeah, I like the 3 points. I think I feel like super tangible also
Yeah.
for now building their company now. And I said one of the toughest part is finding the right use case, right? Because robots can be quite versatile. Let's have a delivery task in warehouses, industrial environments. So I quite like how you took those 3 different decisions you had to, and 3 different things to find then your right use case. But you said in the beginning you didn't have the commercial traction. So take us, how did you go from finding out what the right use case is to then getting the first commercial traction, and thus also the market validation in the end?
Yeah, so I think in hindsight, telling this story, it always makes complete sense. So obviously it was not a straight line, just to be fully transparent here. I think the way to really validate if your vertical or product has value is by doing it. So we then went to a big logistics event, or we went to this logistics part, and we really tried to solve it. And it was just sad. Just like they had these big packages and they could never fit on our rows. They're like, it's not going to work. When we, unfortunately, the same also happened for security. Like in the beginning, people will say no, but you have to see that it could make sense. I still remember the first meeting we had, we showed them the product. They said, yeah, probably you can't really do it. Okay, I think if you can actually autonomously patrol around our parking lot and you could check doors, I can get you a meeting. And I was like, perfect, we're going to have it in next month. So we worked our ass off, get this demo right. I mean, it didn't really work perfectly, but we could kind of show what we wanted to show. And they were impressed. And then from that came sort of the next, okay, now that this works and they also see that robotics is going to be the future, let's bring it to a client. And then a lot of these small things then ended up to where we are now, that we have robots all around Europe, the US, that do these patrols.
Yeah. And I mean, when you looking for the right use case, right, looking for product market fit, there's so many different things that go into it. I say you need a clear pain,
Yeah.
which needs to be frequent, needs to be costly, needs to be visible.
Yeah.
And there are also a lot of, like, I would say, macro factors playing in, like labor shortage, for example, automation. So can you share a little bit in what type of environment, you started out, and how that also played in your favor?
So I think there were 2 kind of macro environment movements that were happening. One is you had the smartphone boom in 2010s, where everyone started a smartphone. This allowed robotics really to be a thing, because computers got really cheap. It's very cheap sensors. Robots could only evolve because of the smartphone area before. We also had a lot of investments in autonomous driving that also were needed for all the localization and other technologies. So a lot of the things started to really be available, which were completely unthinkable before from a kind of demand or like supply side for a role. On the other side, from a demand side, we have aging populations all across Europe, security concerns going up. So it's people are not that excited anymore to work night shifts, to check integrities of like perimeters. This is not the dream John data person. This has always been a very hard position to fill. And by sort of seeing those two things, I mean, obviously in hindsight is always easy, but we are benefiting a lot. So every year, the suppliers for us get better, and at the same time, the market gets bigger.